Welcome to Turmeric and Tequila with your host, Kristen Olson. Questioning a better way, one gracefully disruptive conversation at a time.
Welcome to Turmeric and Tequila. I'm so excited to be with you here today. We have a health and wellness varsity human disruptor in the house. So you know I'm very excited for this conversation. Before we jump in, I want to give a little love to our major sponsors. First and foremost, Colorado Clownfish Swim School. They believe in water safety and swim lessons for all ages. They do training and life skills through sports. So go waterproof your family today. They are incredible. And our very newest partners, Plantiva, products that you can trust delivering results you can feel. Check them out at plantiva.com. I am a super fan. They are absolutely incredible, and we'll have more coming on them very soon. But without further ado, I want to welcome Cherie Calbom to the TNT mic.
Thank you. Oh, it's so great to be with you. As I just told you, I love the title of your show, the name of your show. I love turmeric. I'm a huge fan. I juice it almost every day. And I
I
make
love it.
golden milk with.
Oh, yes. We're very familiar. Do you ever add tequila to any of these juicing situations?
I haven't. I don't drink because my
That's
body
a
hates it. But
yeah.
I'm sure you love a little tequila.
Balance. That's what I'm saying. It's definitely more turmeric than the tequila these days, but we do keep it mixed up. Cherie's such a rock star. I do want to read your bio just so the audience knows all the laps that you've run and all the things you've covered, and then we'll get into our convo. But Cherie, celebrated worldwide as the Juice Lady, a trailblazer in whole food nutrition and the juicing revolution. With a Master of Science degree in nutrition and passion for transforming health through fresh, vibrant foods, she has authored 36 books, and they have collectively sold over 3.5 million copies. Her global bestseller, Juicing for Life, alone has empowered 2 million readers to reclaim vitality. From serving as George Foreman's nutritionist to advising the royal family of the UAE, Cherie's influence spans continents and cultures. Her mother died of breast cancer when she was 6 years old, created passionate and desired to help people and prevent disease. A dynamic voice in wellness, Cherie has been featured on Fox News, NBC, CBS, ABC, CNN, CBN, TBN, and it's supernatural, inspiring millions with her message. Health is not just a goal, it's a lifestyle. Oh my gosh, these are all the things. You've covered all the bases.
We can just end the show now. No.
Seriously, go buy the book. There you go.
Oh,
I love it.
no.
Well, you've done all the things, but I always want to know about the human behind the mission. So tell us around like young Cherie. It sounds like you had a very opportunity to mature and see life in a different perspective, losing your mom early. But tell me about you as a kiddo.
Yeah, so I was sick all through my childhood and into young adulthood. And the reason I'm here and do what I do is in my 20s, I had chronic fatigue syndrome and fibromyalgia. And I was so sick, I couldn't work. I had to quit, move back home to my father and stepmothers and sleep 12 hours a day and get up tired and feel weak and awful. And I'm young and my whole life is ahead. And I'm thinking, this is crazy. There's got to be a way out of this. Something got me in this hole, and I'm going to find the way out. So I went to health food stores and talked to people there, and I discovered, oh, my diet's all wrong. I love junk food, fast food. I hated vegetables. I was a sugaraholic. No wonder I was sick. And then I had the emotional baggage of losing my mother so young. So I learned about juicing and went on a 5-day juice fast. And on day number 5, my body expelled a tumor this size of a golf ball, with blue blood vessels attached. It looked like somebody cut them. And I thought, oh, my word, I was definitely following in my mother's footsteps. And I know I wouldn't be here today. I'm sure I wouldn't if I hadn't done what I did. So I thought, wow, that really got my attention. And now that I have my master's in whole foods nutrition, I discovered that was angiogenesis, those little blue blood vessels, growing blood vessels to the tumor to feed it. And I also learned that I was drinking a lot of what I call nature scissors or God scissors, like apigenin and luteolin, those phytonutrients that cut the blood supply to tumors. Well, I saw the results of that with my own 2 eyes. It was like, wow. And I think I got great results because I was so young and my body was just ready to go fight, and I gave it the right stuff. And took away the bad. So I thought, well, tomorrow I'm going to wake up feeling fabulous. And I didn't. And but I was on a journey. I discovered that. I didn't know anything. Nobody'd written much about it then, but I thought I got results here, so I'm sticking with this. And I added in a lot of vegetables, some ancient grains, legumes like beans, lentils, split peas. I went mostly vegan that summer, which I'm not now. And in 3 months, I was healed. I woke up one morning and thought, wow, I got a new body last night. I felt fabulous. I felt like jogging. And I couldn't even walk around the block before that. My body didn't just instantly heal, it was working on it all that time. It was like two steps forward and a step back, but I was cleansing, detoxing, and healing. And it was just, it all came together one morning, feeling like, whoa, I'm a brand new person. And then I thought, okay, that was the greatest cure on earth. And I went back to Southern California and my friends and the cheeseburgers and the fries and the pizza and
Yeah.
fried chicken. And my symptoms started coming back. And that's when it dawned on me, gosh, this has got to be a way of life for me. This good food diet's got to be my lifestyle.
Wow. Well, I'm always curious. I have so many questions here, but I think it's amazing when, you're young and you're dealing with hard things and there's like two paths. One, you go and you just go off the rails, you do drugs or have crazy activity or you just don't want to heal. Or two, you take the other side and you're like, how do I fix this? And I'm always impressed when our young people choose, I don't want to say the right thing because we all have our journey and sometimes you need to make the wrong decision to get to the right one. So none of them are really wrong. But what made you want to heal and want to get better and not just continue the way you were living, especially as a young person when we're not armed with mental health or how to ask questions or disrupt or anything?
I know. I had nobody to ask except a few people at the health food store. I asked a few questions too, but I felt like I had a purpose, a mission in life, and I did. I just was clueless as to what it was, but I thought to fulfill my mission, my purpose, whatever it is, and I'm going to find out what it is. I've got to heal,
Mhm.
and so I was very motivated to find a way out to heal my body.
That's amazing. I do think our mission driven tendencies and like our high achievers are just like hardwired as a young human. So I always believe we have a choice and control, but some things just like our nature and the nurture comes into to play. But it's very interesting. So kudos as a young person to take that next step. I'm curious, how long were you on this initial juice cleanse? Because 5 days is a lot, especially if you're new to something. That's a pretty incredible commitment. What made you choose the right cleanse or the first cleanse you did, and then how did you stay in it?
Well, I was so desperate to be well. I felt so horrible, like I had the flu all the time and a low-grade fever, swollen glands, headaches, ached all over, and I just hated feeling like that. So I was highly, highly motivated, and then just motivated to stay with the game. It was like I can't fulfill my purpose, but I can't stand to feel like this either. There's got to be a better way, and I want to feel good. And so I thought I'm sticking with this no matter what. My willpower was stronger then, much stronger than
Mhm.
it is now. I have trouble now with juice fasting too many days. It's like, oh, I'm hungry and I need
Yeah.
something, but I had great willpower then. And I think young people do have strong, a lot of them, not all,
Mhm.
like you say, some just turn to drugs and say, I'm just giving up. But a lot of young people do have strong willpower. And Gen Zs, especially, I'm very impressed with these days. I have a lot of Gen Z followers for juicing. At Juice Lady Cherie is my reel. I do little juice reels all the time. And I have a lot of Gen Zs that follow me. And I've talked with a number of young people. They're very motivated, very interested, a lot of them, in better ways. It's like, no, we viewed the drug thing and the
Mhm.
prescriptions, and it didn't work for grandma, it didn't work for my parents, and I don't think I want to go that route. I want something else. And what's going to get to, speaking of root, to the root of what's going on? That's what they want to know. Like, why am I feeling this? Why am I getting headaches or whatever? What's at the root of that? And that's what I love to get to. And that's what my profession is about with diet. Let's look at what you're eating and see, could there be some culprits in here that are contributing to the disease in your body? And we're sure going to talk about one of those big culprits today, seed oils.
Yes, and that's what I'm leading to. There's so many things, and the health and wellness space. I'm a longtime athlete. I've been in this space professionally for over 20 years. It's hard and can get complicated complicated and it can get very overwhelming. The marketing is very strong, so it's hard to find the truth. What is your advice for someone that's new, like you when you were young, being like, I just want to make one positive change to get in the right direction? What do you think? What would you suggest for them to do if they're listening? They're like, I'm interested, but I'm overwhelmed by all the things.
Oh, there's so many things, and you're right. I always say pick one at a time, because otherwise we it can blow our circuits, right? I've
Mhm.
got to do all of this stuff. So maybe it's juicing, like it was that for me, getting all of that live nutrition. But at the same time, I had to let go of the junk food and the fast food and the sugar. So it was a several pronged process of letting go and taking in. But I've worked with some young people even that have just cut out seed oils. I
Mhm.
have one young woman, young mom, cut out seed oils and her migraines went away and never came back. She got them pretty much out of her diet. So, maybe you start there. And I know a lot of Gen Zers are very interested in no seed oil movement is really becoming popular in well, everybody, but very popular with young people. And so maybe it's just getting most of the seed oils out. I don't think any of us can get all of them out, at least right
Right.
now, because they're in so much. But if we get a lot of it out, you might see quite a difference in how you feel.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the one side of it, biohacking and my humans of optimization, which I love, are great. But if you're so dialed into what you're eating, what you're reading, what you're breathing, plastics, I feel like your cortisol can just spike just off the stress of doing everything right. So I don't think you want to be on that side. But then on the flip side, if you just heighten the awareness and get rid of the crap that you already know is crap, like we all know what it is. And I love that our young people are questioning about it because they've seen, the consequence of too much fitness, too much alcohol, too much of all this stuff, and they want to advocate for themselves. And health insurance is very expensive, so they're also incentivized to do it themselves and question a better way. It's really exciting to see these shifts in our younger humans. And the seed oil is not a new conversation, but it is, like you said, it's like trending and it's becoming more into like pop culture and casual conversation. And people I think are asking fast food joints or Chipotle, whatever, to step up to the plate. But why don't you break down what seed oils are for us, like if people are new to the conversation, and why we should cut them out, and then we'll get into the book.
Seed oils were originally called vegetable oils, and there are no vegetables in them, they're seeds. And they started at the turn of the century before last with waste management. We had huge piles of cotton seeds getting smelly and rotten, and they were saying, what do we do with it? Okay, well, let's make an oil that we'll use for machinery. So it was dark and it was smelly and it was used with machinery. And then came World War II and it was used with aircraft and ships and lubrication. But then they said, let's do something more with it. Like, let's make it look pretty. So they processed it even more with really high temperatures, like about 500 degrees, which is like horrible. It destroys the new everything in those seeds, and it creates toxic byproduct like lipid peroxides and aldehydes, and on it goes, of free radicals that really damage our cells. And so they brought about this clear, golden, tasteless, odorless oil and rolled it out with slick marketing, especially during World War II when coconut oil couldn't make it through the waters. The ships couldn't make it through the waters from Southeast Asia. And prior to that, coconut oil had been advertised as the healthiest oil on earth, which I agree with that. That was a correct advertisement. But during the war, couldn't make it. So the seed oil companies said, wow, we see a perfect market opportunity. So let's up production and we'll get some slick marketing ads. So along came the ads. This is the new modern oil, and good for your heart. And we call it vegetable oil. And they hired people to write cookbooks using that oil. And about the same time, heart disease started increasing. If you look at a bar graph, it was like just minimal, very small prior to the 40s and World War II. And then when the production upped and people were consuming these oils big time because that's all that was available, all of a sudden, in the early 50s, you see the bar graph leap way up. Heart disease, heart attack, and people wanted to know why, and people were scared, and the government and the scientists and physicists and all of these people got involved, and And then doctors were doing autopsies and they discovered, oh, yes, there's problems in the arteries. There's plaque and it has cholesterol and fat and calcium, and these mounds are building up. And nobody asked, why are they building up? They're building up. We know now because there were wounds in the arteries, like scraping it with a brush. And so, of course, there's going to be something like a scab on the inside. And nobody said, well, why is that? And what happened, but they just pinpointed fat and cholesterol and said, well, those are the culprits because we're finding those items in the plaque. So let's demonize and tell people no more butter, no more lard, no more tallow, no more red meat, eggs, cheese. I mean, we've got to just cut this out. And a few lone voices said, wait a minute, they were the common sense. We've eaten this for centuries. Butter, eggs, meat. They didn't question, well, some did, but most didn't. And so was born the new lipid hypothesis that all of these fats are bad for you, causing heart disease, but they never did before. And here's the new modern oil, and we're calling it heart healthy. And the company that produced it gave a big donation to the American Heart Association, which was a very small organization prior to that. They exploded and went nationwide. And of course, they touted the healthy vegetable oils, which are now called seed oils. And away we went down the path of no return. It almost was until now we've got some louder voices saying, wait a minute. We've been on a wrong path for decades, and let's get off that path because heart disease is still the number one killer in the US.
Amen. It's so crazy how much the business plays into this. And it's not
Ah,
about human health. It's about the bottom line. And people can actively, like, you don't think authority, doctors, politicians, whatever, would turn ahead to your, or turn ahead to to your health. And they do, and have forever. So this is where personal advocacy is so important. Arm yourself with intel and be aware. I'm not even saying do or don't eat or drink something, but just be aware of what you're putting in your body. Tell us about the book, The Truth About Seed Oils, why you published it now, and who is this for?
this is for everybody. It's like Wake Up America. And I published it because it was so on my heart. I was on for a while the Seed Oils Committee, the first of last year, and we were talking about this, and I thought there needs to be a book about seed oils and revealing the dangers of them, and then telling people about the good oils because people don't know what's bad, what's good. It's very confusing. So we're going to go over that in a minute. And then recipes. We've got over 50 recipes in the Truth About Seed Oils. How do you incorporate the good fats? Because a lot of people don't know how to cook. I mean, they just don't know how to assemble food. It's a fast food, packaged food society we live in. And so I wanted to bring this home a little more and then also to make people very aware that we eat a lot of seed oils we don't know we're eating. They're
Mhm.
in the snack foods, the packaged foods, even the health food store items. Like you go to buy an organic, healthy salad dressing, it's got a seed oil in it, like maybe canola or grapeseed oil or safflower or sunflower. And it's like, yikes, it's all around us. Our mayonnaise and baked goods. And then you go to restaurants, and it's most of the restaurants are using seed oils in their food preparation, and especially the fast food chains, which are using
Mhm.
those seed oils to cook the fried foods, the French fries, and all the other things. And it's used over and over and over again. And defoaming agent, nasty looking stuff is poured in there in the vats of old rancid oil. And out comes, though, our beautiful French fries, which everybody loves. And they're juicy and they're tasty. And then restaurants are using like things like Crisco that people know, oh, they don't want Crisco because it's got trans fats. And I thought, well, Crisco will be almost dead in the water. And I looked up what their income, what their revenue is. Oh, no, they're not dead. And they're a thriving business. So I wanted to know who's buying it because it's not in the grocery store hardly. I was just there and looking in a couple little cans. Well, the restaurants and the fast food industry are buying Crisco, all that trans fat, and
Mhm.
they're not labeling it. They're labeling it either vegetable oil on the label or the oil that actually was used to make that Crisco, whether it's soybean oil, soy oil, or canola or whatever. We're bombarded with it and we don't even know it. And we're so off balance. So I'm talking about polyunsaturated oils when I talk about seed oils. And polyunsaturated oils are very rich, very high in omega-6 fatty acids. We need them, but not in the ratio we're getting them. It's like a huge imbalance, like a teeter-totter, and we're way, way off balance. So we've got about a 15 to maybe 20 some to 1 ratio of omega-6 to omega-3s. We should be at about a 1 to 1 to a 4 to 1 maximum. And then you look at omega 3s, poor little omega 3s sitting over here. They aren't in a lot of the foods that people choose. They're in things like flaxseed and flaxseed oil, hemp seed oil, cold water fish, fatty fish like salmon. Walnuts are very rich. So, walnut milk, walnut seeds, walnut oil, you would get some omega 3s, fish oil. But it's not in a lot. So what I just named, there are people that never eat any of those things most
Mhm.
days of their life. And so we're probably more off balance than we even thought. And I was just talking with a friend the other day who's totally into health and into homeopathy, and he had a test. And the test was to test him for his omega-6 to omega-3 ratio. He said he was way up at 21, I think it was, to 1. And he eats well. It was like, so he was like, where am I getting these? And he had to start looking more like a detective at his life.
Mhm.
And he brought them back down into range. We've got to be good detectives for our own
Yeah.
health.
Oh man, it's so real. I was gonna say even like walnut nut milks and stuff. You got to read what oils are in there. There are some great companies that are like four ingredients, like the nuts, the water, and then like salt. Like there's three or four
Right.
ingredients, but like but some of the health stuff, and it's this is kind of why we started the podcast because I was like, I'm in the marketing side, I love it, but we got to start telling the truth because there is two sides to this story, and you got to find the good guys, and you got to know how to find the good guys. So it's really, really hard. That's why I love this book, and I was excited for this convo because you don't understand how much of a consequence it can be. Like you are what you eat, which is like a time old saying that can really change things. And this can cancer and tumors and like really big things. And people are always seeking out like big pharmaceuticals, which is big food, big pharma. They're always partners in the game. I want to know how like what are some of the things seed oils can cause like chronic inflammation or whatever it is, and how fast, like what's realistic for a recommendation, because like you said it's got to be a realistic lifestyle to allow for your daily or monthly consumption.
Right. And how do you make the turnover? So let's first go over your first part of your question. What is it related to? We did a ton of research. I've co-author, ton of research on diseases and studies and linked to seed oils. Definitely cancer, which you just mentioned, heart disease, way up there at the top, diabetes, and all sorts of metabolic disorders. Seed oils are hormone disruptors, so a lot of female problems, a lot of menstrual problems, and also related to mental issues, directly related anxiety, excuse me, depression, aggression, even when studied to homicide. So these things have big ramifications that we don't know. And I call it the silent killer because it's
Hmm.
tasteless and it's odorless. And our food just tastes moist and juicy and it looks good, and we don't know what it's doing to us. So we've got to get them out. But where do you start? And so you start with the cooking oil that you buy, and here are the good oils. We all know about olive oil and how wonderful that is. Coconut oil, avocado oil, those are pretty popular right now. People are catching on, and those are gaining traction. Also, the nut oils, almond and macadamia. Sesame seed oil is good, and that's it. And then the animal products, if you eat that, ghee, which is clarified butter, is good, or some people call it the oil of butter, and butter is fine. And tallow is being used more. Some restaurants have switched over to beef tallow for cooking their fries. Much better. It's got a high smoke point and no double bonds to be broken. Those are really troublesome actors. And those, we have multiple double bonds on a chemistry lineup of carbons and hydrogens. You'll see in polyunsaturated oils more than one set of little double bonds in there, and they're bad actors. I mean, they can be broken easily with heat and treatment. So, anyway, getting those under control is going to be really, really important. And where do you start? Again, like I said, what you what you buy to bring home to cook your food in is extremely important. But then being a detective of what you buy in boxed food, snacks food, um, grocery store items that you wouldn't even think about. Maybe your mayonnaise. How about your salad
Mhm.
dressings, baked goods? And then when you go out to eat, what is that restaurant using to cook your food in? If you're going to a fast food restaurant, unless it's on the list of, yeah, and you can Google it, there are several restaurants that have switched over to beef tallow for their fried food, but unless they've done that, you don't know what they're using. And probably they're using one of the seed oils like canola. A lot of restaurants used to pride themselves and call it the healthy oil, and it's not. You can get an app to put right on your phone, Seed Oil Scout, and just look up your restaurants, look up things about your food. But we've got to be really, really good detectives and figure out how do I minimize this? Maybe I can't get rid of it all, but how do I minimize it in my diet, in my lifestyle?
So well said. And the good news is there are apps, there's tools, and it can feel overwhelming at first, but if you just start paying attention, you really do get the hang of it. And I always say to simplify it, just eat at home. Start and
Yes.
simple, like cut out salad dressings, make it out of, oil, a good oil and vinegar and like a flavoring packet that's clean. And like, but just do stuff really, really simple and you can get in a flow. And I always tell my people, like, you're not going to never eat fast food again. That's okay. Like, that's the balance of things. Like, don't stress out to where then your cortisol's stressing out and you have stress receptors because you're stressed out about eating healthy. Like, that's not the point either. You got to find that in between. But a tool like the book or the app or things like that, or following social media, this is an upside of it. You can get some really good intel fast and really get the hang of things for making a difference. I do want to ask as we wrap up, is there like a quick juice cleanse or anything like a simple recipe you want to share if people are thinking about cutting out seed oils and like maybe I want to do a really easy juice cleanse for like a day or two?
Yes, absolutely. So, beets are very cleansing for the liver, and the liver is something we've got to go for cleansing periodically. It's like the oil filter in your car. So, beet juice is wonderful. I have a simple little 4 week, 1 ounce of beet juice every day for the first week, 2 ounces of beet juice every day for week two, 3 ounces of beet juice every day for week three, and 4 ounces each day, week four. That is a really simple one if you want to just jump in and do something little like that, but it's pretty powerful. If you want to take a day and do a juice fast, that is also very powerful, and just drink juices, but drink mostly vegetable juices. Fruit juice is minus the fiber and replete with sugar, the fruit sugars. So it can kind of send your system kind of wacky with blood sugar imbalances. So use fruit more to just flavor and sweeten and juice up um, vegetables. So lots of greens. They're fabulous for helping your body cleanse, and cucumber gives you a lot of juice. So it's a great base. And to that, you can add a little apple. Green apple is lower in sugar if you're trying to keep your sugars down. And then any other vegetables, you can put a couple of carrots in there. How about some ginger? It's anti-inflammatory and it adds some spice. I love ginger in my juices. I put in turmeric. And
That's
I buy
good.
fresh turmeric and put in chunks of fresh turmeric often into my juice. And then whatever greens I have hanging around, maybe some kale or chard or parsley or spinach, and just like a handful or a couple of leaves. You don't want to overwhelm it, especially if you're just getting started with a more of a bitter green taste. And drink several glasses of juice a day, and you'll be on your way to cleansing your body that day.
I love it. And what about like what is the difference between juicing and a smoothie? Do we need to have the juicer?
Well, some people don't have juicers and they just want to do a smoothie. Smoothie keeps everything, of course, in one container. And juicing up vegetables, you're going to get a lot of insoluble fiber in there. And some people think it tastes kind of grainy or mushy. It depends on what you're blending up. And it seems like for smoothies, people need quite a bit more fruit than
Mhm.
they do for a juice. But that being said, sure, just go ahead.
Yeah.
That's all you've got. Let's do it. Let's go for it. And yeah, juice what you can, or blend up what you can. And spinach and chard seem to blend up a little better than like kale is a little more
Mhm.
fibrous, and chard is pretty. no, chard blends, collard greens is what I'm trying to say, are a little more fibrous. And
Mhm.
the turmeric's pretty fibrous, and the
Yeah.
ginger as well. So you may just need little pieces in there. And then a fruit that blends, like berries are wonderful. They blend very, very well, and they're lower in sugar and very high in antioxidants. So you could do some berry green, I call it berry green smoothie.
Let's go. And what are your top two oils? Let's just say, I know it's a loaded conversation. There's lots of science, but what were your two that you suggest for just overall use?
Yes, olive oil and coconut. And well, let's just throw in avocado because
Yes.
it's got a very high smoke point. Those are your three super juices, super all oils. Tongue twisted here. And then let's just go over quickly the ones you want to reject, which is canola, corn, soy, safflower, sunflower, grapeseed oil, cottonseed oil, rice bran oil, and peanut oil. And those are the ones on the let's reject those oils. And so get those out of your diet as much as you possibly can and go for your good oils.
Boom. I love it. I hope people don't feel overwhelmed. I hope they feel empowered with the idea of how much you can change just by what you put in your body. And if you're skeptical, I just say, like, try a day. Give yourself a day of doing something different and see if you notice a difference. Ideally, a couple days, nothing, you don't get fit in one workout and nothing happens overnight. But I really encourage people to lean in and empower yourself with choice. And like you said, advocacy, being a detective. Final question. I want to know, you've done a lot, lots of books, lots of sales, lots of impact. What is success to you at this point?
Uh, Success is living a life of peace for me. I just want peace in my soul, and to do what I'm called to do, to hear people's testimonies of, gosh, my life changed because I read your book, and or you inspired me, or I saw you on this show, or whatever, and I did this, and my life changed, and my body healed, and that is what my goal is, to help people heal and help people find peace in their own bodies, in their own souls. And I'm learning to, I overthink things. I tend to be an overthinker, overachiever. Well, and I just go on and on about whatever that's bugging me. And I'm learning to give it up. When I say give it up, really give it up, give it to God and stop thinking about it. And do you know that is so hard?
Mhm.
That is my life lesson right now, to just say, I'm pushing this to the side. I prayed about it. I've done all I can do. I can't do anymore. I'm giving it to God. And wow, every time I do that, I have peace. First of all, I sleep better at night and it works out. It does usually not work out on my timetable. It works out on God's timetable. And that's even better.
Amen. Man, your lips to my ears. I always say God, universe, Madonna, whatever you believe, has plays tricks on me because I do this for the greater good and everybody else, but I learn a lesson every single time. And I could not agree more because all the things you can control, health, wellness, whatever, you still have to find your internal peace and also let go just enough for really good things to happen. And it's really, really hard. Cherie, you're awesome. There's so much more details to this, so much more science. Go check out her socials. They're incredible. She's got lots of details and recipes and all the tools. So if you're inspired and you want to make a change, go check out all she's going on. Cherie, hit us with websites, details. Where do we find you?
Yes, so come to juiceladyinfo.com, and you can get your free gift, 7 anti-inflammatory juices in an ebook. And check me out on Instagram at Juice Lady Cherie, Cherie. And I've always got reels coming out, and this is the week on nut milks. So come watch for nut milks, and I'm going to do a golden milk with a lot of turmeric coming
Let's
up.
go.
So I'm all over the place. I'm on X and TikTok and LinkedIn and YouTube Shorts. So I'm everywhere. Just Juice Lady Cherie, plug that in, and you'll find me and get my book, The
Go
Truth
get
About
it.
Seed Oils and over 50 great recipes.
I love it. The social media is the cardio, man. Let's go. I want to say a special thank you to our sponsors, Colorado Clownfish Swim School, swim lessons and water safety training for all ages. They believe in life skills through sports, so go waterproof your family. Our very new and awesome company we're excited to announce very soon, Plantiva, products you can trust, delivering results you can feel. Plantiva.com. Go check them out. Cherie, you're awesome. I'm excited to dig in more to what you have going on. I love that you're leading with the heart and disrupting the health and wellness game. We need it now more than ever. So go check her out. We'll have this podcast wherever you listen to your podcast, and we'll have the video on YouTube. Cherie, thank you for joining us. Hopefully we'll see you again soon.
Thank you. It was a pleasure. I loved your show. I love your energy.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank you for joining Turmeric and Tequila with your host, Kristen Olson. Tune in next time, and don't forget to subscribe on Apple, Google Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen.